What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fight Pit WWE here on the House Call Sports channel. My name is Sam. That is Justin. And today we are going to predict Backlash 2024 fresh out of the WWE draft. I thought it was an amazing draft myself, except for SmackDown, but we'll get into that in a bit later. Before we start, a quick word from Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats is the most trustworthy and easy to navigate ticketing website. They have reliable and rewarding tickets and a 100% buyer's guarantee, which means your transaction will be safe and secure. You will get full service customer care and be compensated for any canceled events. And it's got the only ticket rewards program around. And what that means is any WWE events you want to go to, Vivid Seats is the place to go. Go to hit the link in our description and go sit vividly. Now, Backlash 2024, shaping up to be a damn good card. I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of people, and Justin, I kind of want to get your opinion on this. A lot of people were complaining a bit about the amount of matches on the card itself. They think 5 matches is a bit too small, and they think like they're comparing it, of course, because they have to WWE, where the match card is just way too big. And I'm wondering, do you think this is a bit too small, or would you want like more matches? I personally think 5 is a sweet spot if matches are good.
Yeah, no, I completely agree that 5 matches is a bit of a sweet spot for Backlash specifically, because let's put it like this. We're entering a new year in the WWE calendar. So it makes sense to kind of have these like little PLEs just to like get everybody like rested, ready, because we're coming down from literally the biggest WrestleMania of all time right now.
Right.
So it makes sense that, to build out these storylines just a bit, let's have a little bit of a smaller pay-per-view. And it actually works out better for the competitors, because with a smaller match card, that means you have longer matches. So now each one of them will probably have like 15, 20 plus minute matches, enough time for us as fans to actually enjoy each one, rather than having, let's say, a Jimmy versus Jey Uso fiasco in WrestleMania where time was kind of getting short and they had to like rush that match. So I do like the idea of having this smaller one, especially now in the beginning of the calendar, as long as it's not like a major event like a SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania type thing.
I would agree, but I think the reason why I'm gonna push back a bit is really the storylines that they have built that would be worth a Backlash match. I definitely think Chad Gable, Bronson Reed, and Sami Zayn, especially in France, I think that match just makes sense. And what's one more match? That's another 15 minutes. I feel like 5 matches in that sense is just a bit too small, especially since they built up that Sami Zayn, Gable, and Bronson Reed match fairly well in the short amount of time. I get it. They want the story to progress a bit more and more and more. I get that. I just feel like you really should, like, if you're going to build this thing, right, fresh out of WrestleMania, you should really give not necessarily a payoff, but sort of a building block story match. Like a triple threat with Zayn, Gable, and Bronson Reed, to me, made sense in that card. But with that being said, I'm not against it at all. I just think if you're going to like really emphasize this story between Zayn, Gable, and Bronson Reed, you just gotta capitalize while it's hot.
But with that one, I think they need a little bit more time to cook. Let's remember, Chad Gable being heel is only like a week 2-ish kind of thing, week 3-ish.
Get that?
So I feel like that rivalry between him and Sami needs a little bit more time to cook, especially if we're going to be adding Bronson Reed to it. Now we need to like let it marinate with all 3 of them. Not pause on that one, but essentially we need those 3 to like gel together in that rivalry. And I feel like having the next pay-per-view being, I think it's Clash at the Castle, I think that would be a good time to have that triple threat
too. I guess my thing is that's why I say, well, if it's not the triple threat, then I don't think Bronson Reed versus Sami Zayn is a bad match to have either. I don't know. I feel like defending it means something, in my opinion. And defending at Backlash means something. So look, if they're not gonna have it, it's fine. As long as down the road they put on a banger, I'm okay with it. I just think you had an opportunity to do something and you just didn't. But we'll let bygones be bygones. We're gonna go ahead and start our predictions, starting off with the Kabuki Warriors versus Bianca Belair. and Jade Cargill. I'm gonna go first here. I think the winner should be fairly obvious. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair should 1000% win these tag team championships. The reason being, first of all, they're literally unstoppable. Like, the only way Kabuki Warriors retain is by, shenanigans, and shenanigans realistically should not work on Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, if we're being honest. So it sucks that Damage Control is going to take another loss. I feel like they've been built up as this really dominant faction, and yet they do a lot more losing than they do winning, I feel. So it sucks, but I think Bianca and Jade Cargill, them two together, it works because, well, I would imagine one of those two is turning heel eventually. So giving them the tag team titles, making there be some sort of tension, I think that makes a perfect sense for a heel turn. Also, I think Jade Cargill being with Bianca Belair on like road trips, being with Bianca Belair like everywhere, I feel like that'll help Jade Cargill like become a better star. She already is a star, but a better one. And eventually she will upgrade to that, main event women's title scene. I would hope that it's off the heels of a heel turn from one of these two. I think Bayley should have a long title reign. We'll get to that in a second, but it's a fairly easy choice for me. I think 1000% give me Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's going to be a very easy decision to know who's going to win this match. And I'll be honest, this is probably the only match that I'm kind of like on, only because I think Jade Cargill, as big of a star as she is coming from AEW, she has some development that needs to be made. Let's say, besides the in-ring ability. In-ring ability, she's already like top 5, top 10 out of the active roster right now, as is. But personally, I have never even heard her on the mic, not even just in WWE, but even going back to the clips that I would see in AEW, because I'm not a big AEW watcher, so I may be wrong in this. But I feel like she needed more time to improve specifically on the mic. Because the reason why she's really being paired with Bianca Belair, not just because they would make a great tag team for that women's tag team division, it sets up a potential rivalry between the two for like a major PLE match, but also because she really needs Bianca Belair, who's already like established herself as a main card star in the women's division. She can talk the talk, and she also has the in-ring ability to go along with it. Jade Cargill has all the in-ring ability known to man, women, extraterrestrial beings in the WWE roster, but she needs that extra time. And I think putting the women's tag team titles on them does give her that extra time, because we can focus on her in-ring ability. We can see her pretty much take over matches at any time, but she doesn't feel forced to have to like be that ultra charismatic character. Now, for the Kabuki Warriors and Damage Control, yes, this is going to be another L, because this is basically going to be a fall of their empire. You already lost the women's tag team title. I mean, the women's world title, not the women's world title, the women's championship to Bayley with Io Sky. And that's like essentially like cutting the head off of a snake. Once the head falls, the body goes with it. So now it is time for the Kabuki Warriors to eventually lose their titles, and we'll see what Damage Control does from there. You already know Asuka's going to be fine. Asuka is a star in her own right.
She's a legend.
Io's going to be fine. She is a rising star in her own mind. The rest of Damage Control could be pretty iffy from there, but we're going to see how that goes after this match.
I think Dakota Kai has something in her that would definitely like warrant like some sort of title run in future. I'm a big Dakota Kai fan, so I might see it. A lot of people see it as well on Twitter, but granted, it's Twitter, and Twitter doesn't know much. So yeah, exactly. So I think of the group in Damage Control, the two that have the potential to become separate stars on their own more likely is definitely Io Sky and Dakota Kai, which is why they performed the faction in the first place. Damage Control was made so that Bayley could eventually get over, and then Io Sky and Dakota Kai would eventually get over. And really, when Dakota Kai was out, it kind of was a monkey wrench, and I would imagine it was a monkey wrench in some potential plans for the group to split a bit more. What's the word? I guess earlier, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like Dakota Kai and Io Sky have a future together, or not together, separate from Damage Control. And this, I would imagine, is the start. I don't know if Damage Control is going to split after this, but I definitely think that we are in for some more turmoil, and Damage Control would have to happen eventually, I would assume. But that's enough talk about the women's tag team titles. Next up, we'll talk about a very interesting storyline involving the Bloodline versus Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. To be fair, this match was kind of just like jumbled together because Randy Orton just decided to help out with Kevin Owens on a Friday night, and Nick Aldis was just like, you know what, let's put him in a tag team match. And actually it was Teddy Long that did it, ironically. So it was a pretty fun stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and Justin, let you take this and you give me the winner, boss.
I know I cannot be the only one that saw Teddy Long make this match and was just waiting for him to say, "And The Undertaker," because he was known for doing that. But let's talk about the match at hand. This was a very thrown together match, so it's pretty relevant to how it's going to end. We all know that the Bloodline will most likely take this one. I do like the idea of KO and Randy Orton as a tag team, specifically as that like comedic tag team, because I feel like they have great comedic timing with each other. Their matches tend to be extremely hilarious. That triple threat match between them and Logan Paul at WrestleMania had me dying from start to finish. Not to mention the fact they are great in-ring competitors who, if they were to keep on as a tag team, would be great in that SmackDown tag team picture. But against the Bloodline, against pretty much Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa, as devious and as quote-unquote deadly as they have been over the last number of weeks, you already know that they are going to go in this match, dominate the beginning part of it. Randy and KO may stage a little bit of a comeback, but I feel like the main point of this match is to announce the debut of Jacob Fatu as the third member of this Bloodline. And that is the part that I am excited to see, because, ladies and gentlemen, if you have never had the chance to see clips or videos of Jacob Fatu wrestle, he has probably one of the best Samoan drops I have ever seen. He is probably one of the most graceful in the ring competitors for somebody as big as he is that I've ever seen. And his addition into that trio on the Bloodline is going to be insane and is going to be a major pop with the audience.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if there's a pop, because quite frankly, I don't think the audience is going to know who Jacob Fatu is. As maybe they will, maybe they won't. I would imagine, because remember, they debuted Kairi Sane in Saudi Arabia, and it got no pop, and it should have gotten a greater one. So they have done this thing where they've debuted stars on other countries, and it just has not worked out very well.
Oh, and, right, Backlash is in France this year.
Yeah, Backlash is in France, so I would imagine. You forgot Backlash was in France, Justin? Nah, man. Look, Jacob Fatu, he definitely should debut. If it's not on Backlash, it should definitely be the SmackDown after Backlash, I would assume. But the debuts need to happen eventually, if the signing is indeed confirmed. So, my opinion on this match, I'll keep it very brief. I think the Bloodline should win. I think shenanigans should be in play. I think Jacob Fatu kind of has to debut here, and if it means disqualification, it warrants a disqualification. Sure, if you want to protect everybody, sure, but I definitely think we should have Tama Tonga have Tama Tonga pin maybe Kevin Owens or Randy Orton. I definitely think that you put Tama Tonga over here and sort of cement Tama Tonga as a major player, and in the same process debut another member of the Bloodline, or the Bloodline 2.0. I'm excited for the Bloodline. I gotta say this. The Bloodline is looking more and more interesting every week. They've done a good job ever since WrestleMania to build the Bloodline. I know it was like a quick, like 2-3 week build, but I think they've done a pretty damn good job. And we're gonna see if this picks up some more steam involving maybe Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, or maybe The Rock, whatever it might be. I think Triple H and the Bloodline itself, they've done a great job making this story fresh. And I'm also glad, and this is something that we're going to talk about for the main event. I'm glad they've kind of separated themselves from Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes needs a fresh title reign, and having him stay away from a guy like The Rock or Solo Sikoa or Tama Tonga, I think that is a good idea so that Cody Rhodes can remain over with the audience and not feel like things are being replicated again. So I like what they're doing with the Bloodline. I think the Bloodline take the dub in Backlash, and I think Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga need to have a very good showing in this match in France for sure.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of what you're saying, like the last 2 or 3 weeks, WWE has done something with Solo Sikoa that I didn't think was probable right now. Like, you instantly turned him from like a henchman, muscle sidekick to literally a main event player just by changing the way he looks, the way he talks, the way he carries himself within the Bloodline, the way he speaks when he's in the ring. It's like, holy cow, this is a different Solo Sikoa than what we've gotten. And now you bring up Tama Tonga in that same position that Solo was just in. Building blocks is insane. But one thing I want to ask you before we move on to the next match, because we're talking about potential debuts in Backlash, do you think we get finally Uncle Howdy's debut?
Oh, I did want to touch on this. I don't know if Backlash would be the place to do it. I don't know. But then again, I'm not sure what place is the place to do it. I feel like if you're going on this crazy international run, like it's kind of weird. This is a kind of a weird spot. I mean, I was thinking maybe down the line later, but at this point they're kind of speeding up the process with the QR codes and stuff like that. I would not mind a debut at Backlash at all. I wouldn't complain at all. I just feel like we don't know how the crowd's gonna react. I would imagine Eric Rowan is going to have something to do with this since he just got signed. Also, we don't know what the other player is going to be. Is it going to be Matt Hardy? Matt Hardy's been very active on Twitter involving these QR codes. Is Bo Dallas going to be involved? Is Eric? I'm sure we're probably going to get Eric Rowan, but who else is going to be involved in this? Like, I staged my worry for this. A couple episodes back. I don't know how they're going to do this Uncle Howdy thing and how they're going to make it matter, because the stuff that Bray Wyatt was doing before wasn't really connecting with the audience either, and I'm a little nervous for it.
There's one person out of NXT that I feel like would be perfect for this pairing.
Joe Gacy, right?
Of course, Joe Gacy.
Joe Gacy?
That man knows how to play the crazy character very well. Now, if you can imagine him with like a bunny mask or a goat mask or something while like right before he starts attacking people, it would go great with him, Rowan, and Bo Dallas.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, man, we're definitely gonna see Uncle Howdy is definitely one of those like acts that we didn't think we'd be this invested in, even after the sad passing of Bray Wyatt. But you know, they're getting me hooked. I'm a little scared for it because it didn't really amount to anything back then, but hopefully it amounts to something right now. Just keep it away from the title picture, for God's sake. I do not want to see this. I don't want to see this guy competing for world championships, for God's sake. The only person that it made sense with was The Undertaker, and that is it. That's it for sure. Next match we're going to talk about, though, WWE Women's Championship. Bayley, Naomi, and it's Tiffy time. Tiffany Stratton. This match is a bit predictable because I don't think they're going to take the title off of Bayley this quickly. However, if they decided to, give it to Tiffany Stratton, shockingly, you're not hearing any complaints from me. They would be rushing it, in my opinion. They would. But Tiffany Stratton has shown such strides as a performer already and she's already doing media. She's already amazing. So I guess my entire thing would be, if you're going to really cement her as this main event player, you're already putting her in a women's match. Why not make her the champion? You know, she's already proven to be an amazing heel. She's stayed on top the last 2 SmackDowns. And in the future, I think that Tiffany Stratton is going to be a multiple-time women's champion just off of her, I hate to use this word, but off of her aura. Like, it's just like, she just seems like the perfect woman to be a champion. That or Miss Money in the Bank. I think she needs something, because as a heel champion, I think she's box office. Like, and it's crazy to think, because she was in NXT just last year. She wasn't really like performing that well, like not performing that well, but like she was young in this process just a couple years ago, and now she's already like becoming a main event star right before our very eyes. I don't think she should take the pin here. I think you got to protect her. Naomi, I definitely think should take the pin. Only thing about Naomi is that I feel like she's taking a bit too many losses, but I'm glad at the very least they're putting her in a title picture. You know, putting her in that, you know, that realm where she feels respected. Whereas, you know, before she was kind of like getting like into these matches with Tiffany Stratton, and a lot of people were not happy, including me, with that. So I think Naomi should take the pin. I think Bayley should retain, but again, would not be mad at Tiffany Stratton getting the belt at Backlash.
I completely agree. I don't think it's time for Tiffany Stratton to take the title yet. I do think that by the end of this year, or by the end of this WWE cycle, she will have gold around her waist at some point. Now, I'll break down what I think is going to happen in this match, and then what I think is going to happen afterwards. The number one thing is Bayley is not losing this title. She just got this title run. Me personally, I believe out of all the current champions, she has been the most overlooked in terms of like promotional and WWE like hype train, because she couldn't even get on a poster on WrestleMania, and she was one of the main matches. So I feel like she's going to get a little bit of a longer reign than what a lot of fans probably think she's going to get. And it does start out with this triple threat match. Naomi, on the other hand, I hate the way that she constantly loses matches, because I love the way she performs in the ring. She has that athletic ability. She can have that mean streak. But the problem I have with Naomi is the same thing I said with Jade Cargill. She is not as well developed in the mic skills as I would like for her to see, especially as a veteran in that locker room. And it's the fact that you have been in this in WWE for so many years, and I still feel that way. I might be wrong. Some people may love the way she is on the mic. I really don't. I think we may have to get maybe a little bit away from the feel the glow thing, and like really work on like her building her own aura as a competitor. But I think she is going to be the one to take this pin. I think it's going to be in some kind of crazy way. I think she's going to take a PME from Tiffany Stratton, and then some other nonsense is going to happen, and Bayley's going to end up winning. But back to Tiffany Stratton, I don't think this is the time for her to actually have gold around her waist right now. I think this match is mostly meant for her to really showcase her ability in a main event type atmosphere with Bayley, with Naomi. Show her ability, show how she is in the ring, show that crazy, like fiery personality, that heel mentality that we all love from her. And then it sets the stage for her, because we do have the King of the Ring tournament going on, which we also have, I think it's called the Queen's Court, or
Queen of the Ring. It's King and Queen of the Ring.
Okay, perfect. It's just Queen of the Ring. We have that coming up. We have Money in the Bank coming up. So she can hold either one of those. Me personally, I think I'd rather her take Money in the Bank, just because there's a lot more prestige in there, and we pretty much have a guaranteed title picture with Tiffany Stratton than I would with Queen of the Ring. I think Queen of the Ring is better for like developing talent, like maybe somebody who's fresh off of NXT or somebody still in NXT. I just don't want her to take that. I think she deserves something a little bit higher.
Right. Well. I'll push back on that. I don't think the King of the Ring should be to push like a developing talent. I think it should, the person who wins King of the Ring should have some sort of prestige, which is why Gunther should win King of the Ring, and Tiffany Stratton. Well, with Queen of the Ring, it's really unpredictable because I don't really picture anybody being the Queen of the Ring right now. Like that's clear cut. Nobody's really clear cut for me to win Queen of the Ring. So Tiffany Stratton is definitely an option. Here's my thing about Naomi, and then we can move on. Naomi has this weird it's just weird. Her Feel the Glow thing, I think it has something to do with her entrance or something, which Def Rebel has done another just weird theme. Again, I don't mean to slander Def Rebel, but it's just, it has something to do with her entrance. It just doesn't really do it for me. I feel like her entrance before with the dancing and stuff really gravitated towards the audience. The audience was really loud for her over in St. Petersburg and Tampa during the Royal Rumble. Granted, it's because of her debut, but I don't know. With Naomi, she's in a weird spot because she deserves to be in the main event, but I feel like there's something missing within Naomi that prevents her from being crowned a champion. And granted, very few can be crowned champion, but this is where I'm definitely thinking, you know how NXT is doing the Women's North American Championship in a lot of matches is going to be great, but I think the WWE should do something like that with like a Women's Intercontinental, a Women's United States, or maybe create a completely different title. I feel like there's so much talent in the women's division. Stuffing them in tag teams is just not ideal in my opinion. But look, this match should bang. Bayley should have another great showing for sure. Man, it feels like I don't see her losing the title anytime soon. Other than to maybe Tiffany Stratton, maybe Nia Jax, something like that. It should be interesting for sure. But we'll go ahead and move on. We'll go to Jey Uso versus Damien Priest. This matchup, very unpredictable for me, but I'll go ahead and start with you. Who do you got?
Okay, so I'm going to give you who I got right now, but first, I just want to circle back real quick to the whole King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring thing, and just leave this point. Let's also remember whoever wins King of the Ring or Queen of the Ring has a tendency to change characters around that King/Queen mantra. Things Zelina Vega, Baron Corbin, Wade Barrett when he won it,
Sheamus.
King Booker. There's character changes in it. That's another reason why I don't want Tiffany Stratton to win, because I don't want her character changing. But let's get to the World Heavyweight Championship match. I will be honest and say that it is a toss-up because usually these matches are a little bit more predictable. Like, we've been on the same page of like who might win. But I'm going to go with my gut and say that the title will not change hands and Damian Priest will retain. Although I will also say some mishaps may happen within the Judgment Day that even though he wins, we're going to see like those cracks in the system. Jey Uso, main event talent. He earns that nickname. I don't think the time is right now in this cycle for him to have a main title. I feel like he needs to have a mid-card title before the end of this year. He's had multiple opportunities at different titles, whether it was the Universal title, whether it was the Intercontinental title, and there's always been this instance of members of the Bloodline, most likely Jimmy Uso, interrupting in his matches. Now, a far-fetched idea I have is that the Bloodline ends up interfering in his thing and jump him the way they jump Jimmy.
Oh no,
but
I'm not with that, man.
No, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think the Judgment Day tries to get involved. It backfires on Damien. Damien still finds some way to win, but we mostly get those cracks forming within the Judgment Day itself. But I don't see Jey Uso winning this match at all.
Yeah, well, the reason why it's predictable for me is, well, the way they built up Jey Uso. Jey Uso is a main player on Raw right now, the number one overall pick. They're really building him up to be this really big deal, and he is a really big deal. He's one of the top in merch sales. He is one of the most popular acts on Raw right now, and it feels like giving him a title would only validate that. Here's the thing, though. It would just be too quick of a title change. And given the fact that we're going to Clash of the Castle next month, you got to assume that Damian Priest is going to be the heel in this scenario. And Drew McIntyre is going to finish his story at Clash at the Castle, I would imagine. So it's got to happen. So that's why I would pick Damian Priest here. Now, the Judgment Day definitely should get involved because, well, like you said, there should be some cracks that should show. They've been showing a bit on Monday Night Raw recently. I think this is a great way for Finn Balor to get back into the main event scene. Finn Balor hasn't been in that main event scene since he was, since I believe late 2023 in his feud with Seth Rollins. He kind of went back to the tag team title scene, which was a great spot for him. I would imagine he enjoyed tag teaming with Damian Priest, and they were great champions. It's just, we know the talent of Finn Balor. Finn Balor is really damn good, and him as a heel, he's funny, he's hilarious, and I feel like he showed it against Seth Rollins. He can be a very, very, believable heel. So, and if you want to make Damian Priest more marketable as a face, or as a face of the WWE, turning him babyface and having him feud with Finn Balor would not be a bad idea. Now, I definitely think that there's a time and place for this. We don't know when it's gonna happen, but the feud should happen. Is my point. If you're gonna crack the Judgment Day, crack them in two. Have Drew McIntyre feud with Finn Balor. I think JD McDonough should 1000% move on to do his own things. He said it ever since he joined on Twitter. He said ever since he joined the Judgment Day, it feels like he does everything for them, but the Judgment Day don't do anything for him. So this is a great opportunity for JD and Finn Balor to have enough of it. Maybe in turn, both of them splitting. JD going for the IC title, and then Finn Balor going for that World Heavyweight title would be that would feed families. I'm definitely into that.
I would love to see, though. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I would love to see Finn Balor bring back the Demon King. Like, that's one of those personas that I absolutely.
I want that too. I want that too, but it feels like they really killed it at WrestleMania 39, man. A match where Edge should not have won.
But with JD, I think if there's anybody that would have very much benefited from going back to NXT, it's probably JD McDonough, because he did a lot of his best work as a competitor and on the mic during his time at NXT, being that heel character on there. And I feel like if there was somebody that could go down there and just instantly be a hit for the North American Championship run, it would be him. Now, Obafemi ain't getting rid of that title no time soon, but I feel like he could really do with that kind of a fresh start.
I don't know. I feel like JD McDonough doesn't really need NXT. He just needs to stay away from the Judgment Day, and that's where you really start to build him up as that mid-card talent. JD McDonough is he can really do things on the mic that are very underrated, and in the ring, look, JD McDonough is probably one of the best in-ring performers on Raw. Even now, with all the talent on Raw, he's one of the best in the ring. So the way you develop JD, again, they have this whole thing where you put them on a team and you develop and you develop and you develop, and then eventually you split, and that's where you become a star. With JD, I think that's the process they want to go with. They want to turn him into a very believable mid-card heel, go after the IC title type stuff. And then for Finn Balor, you go back to the main event where he belongs. So overall, I think JD McDonough would benefit from the Judgment Day splitting. Everybody benefits from the Judgment Day splitting. Dominic Mysterio is a forever heel. I don't see him turning face ever. So I think if you're going to split the Judgment Day, Backlash wouldn't be a bad place to do it, and also Clash at the Castle. I mean, if there's a way you want to protect Damien Priest, 1000%, like having the Judgment Day interrupt and distract Damien Priest and having Drew McIntyre win in his hometown would definitely be a good spot. So that match, in my opinion, is very, very unpredictable for that sense. I know a lot of people think, oh, well, I mean, you know, Damien Priest hasn't had too many title reigns. Imagine his first defense. Look, man, they're making Jey Uso look like $1 million, and I feel like if you can't make him look like $1 million and then lose like that. So I'm gonna go with my gut as well and say Damien Priest here. But man, it wouldn't surprise me if Jey Uso comes out with that championship.
But I want this on the record. Rob, please clip this in case it happens. Jey Uso wins the Royal Rumble this year.
Oh, next year.
Oh, next year.
Really?
Yeah.
You think
they're building him to be such a star that I think he's going to win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania.
Oh, I don't know, man. Because you got to give CM Punk that main event. CM Punk's got a main event WrestleMania, man. He has to.
He could get the main event. The one
against
that Jey Uso does not take. I
mean, we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. I definitely don't. I wouldn't put it past Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. Again, they're building this guy up like $1 million. So if he was to win the Royal Rumble, you would hear no complaints from me for sure. We got a very, very exciting main event. Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles. Not a lot of build up for this. I felt like their contract signing was a bit disappointing. I wanted AJ Styles to really, lean into those heel tendencies. He's still kind of a tweener, and that, to me, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of sucks. Pick a side, brother. Like I don't want to hear, I respect your dad, I respect you. All right, that's cool, but you're a heel, so it kind of like doesn't make sense. No more tweener stuff. Sometimes you just gotta be a heel, and the same thing with, unless you're Drew McIntyre, where it makes sense. With AJ Styles, it doesn't. He's been feuding with one of the hottest baby faces in the entire WWE, right? He cost him a championship match at WrestleMania. That means something, and fans should loathe AJ Styles. You trying to get him to be this sympathizing heel, it just doesn't make sense for me. It worked with Drew McIntyre. It's not going to work here. I hope this coming SmackDown, they turn up the notch a bit. I hope at Backlash, there's something in this match. I don't want this to be a one-off. I think this should extend way past it. I think Clash at the Castle, they should run it back in some kind of gimmick match. For me, I think it just doesn't make sense if you're going to make this match and both of them sort of be baby faces. Cody Rhodes should be the only person that gives respect to the heels, because that's his character. For AJ Styles, I feel like if you're going to make him a heel, you're going to have him cost matches with a top baby face. You can't have it both ways. I'm going to pick Cody to win this match. I think it's going to be a banger of a match as well. I hope Cody's okay. Last Friday on SmackDown, he kind of took a very nasty bump. Definitely a miscommunication between him and Melo Hayes. He looks okay on Twitter. He seems to be doing the whoa type stuff pretty easily, but that was scary for sure. I need something of substance to come out of this main event, whether it's some kind of attacking of AJ Styles, of Cody Rhodes rather, after the match. Something needs to happen in this match to turn the notch up and make this feud interesting.
I'll be honest, if it wasn't for the lack of buildup, I'd probably be a lot more excited for this match, just because these are two people that I followed their careers for years. Obviously, we know the Cody Rhodes story, him going from WWE to the Indies to TNA to Ring of Honor, AEW, all of it. But AJ has done that too. WWE, New Japan, TNA is really where AJ became the phenomenal one, at least in my opinion. That's the first time I ever seen him. And just from seeing these two as competitors all those years, that's how you know this is going to be a banger of a match. They are very, very well experienced as competitors in the ring. They put on 5-star matches and have the capability of putting on plenty more of those. And this would be a great match just on the surface with those two. The way that it's going to end, it could be one of two things. The far-fetched one, which I don't think is going to happen, is that AJ does something and gets himself disqualified. That way we can prolong this a little bit further to Clash at the Castle, because I do think that this is a rivalry that needs to extend further. This is like the perfect first heel for Cody Rhodes' Universal title run. So either something like that happens, or most likely Cody Rhodes does win. He wins in fashion, and then maybe, just maybe, you see like a very devastated and pissed off AJ that may attack him on SmackDown or may attack him after the match. But those are the things that he needs to do to build up that heat as a heel in the title picture. Like, yes, we love AJ. We know AJ. We love him more to death. We need AJ Styles from the Bullet Club. Right. We need that AJ to come into. That AJ did not give a damn about anybody. He knew what he wanted and he was going to take it. And that's the AJ Styles that WWE needs to bring out if you intend on keeping him as a heel character, which honestly for right now, yes, because I feel like we have such a discrepancy between baby faces and heels, especially in the world title pictures on both shows, that you kind of need him to stay at that point.
Right, and this is a perfect time to bring back up the OC. I know the OC have been chasing the tag titles in NXT, but quite frankly, I think the OC operate better as heels, better than ever. So I think if you bring the OC back up, maybe it's the Friday after SmackDown after Cody retains, you build some heat up. This is a way for AJ Styles to get over as a heel. You know what I mean? I know it's kind of repetitive from the Bloodline stuff, but have the first match be clean. Have shenanigans happen the second match, and then if he loses, then we move on from that feud. We need feuds that are memorable, and I feel like if you have a feud where Cody Rhodes and former members of the Bullet Club like the OC and AJ Styles, them kind of interacting, that's some good stuff right there. So if you're gonna do something, if you're gonna make AJ Styles a heel, make him a heel. You can't play both sides. You can't, make him a tweener when he hasn't been acting like a tweener the last 6 months. Not 6 months, but the last 6 months. So
yep, definitely 6 months.
It doesn't make sense to me. So I think bringing back up the OC would definitely work wonders. Maybe have them fake help Cody, and then they betray Cody last second. That's a perfect way for them to turn heel. It just makes sense for me.
And honestly, this is where the storytelling will take place, because we need Cody's title reign to be interesting. For me, the last couple of weeks, I guess because I'm still coming off of the high of WrestleMania, it hasn't felt like that momentum really carried over the last couple of weeks with Cody Rhodes on SmackDown. That little accident between him and Carmelo Hayes, that was probably the most excited feeling I got, but that was also because of fear, because of that little bump, that accident that almost happened. But you're right, maybe having the OC come back into it, maybe hit him with a little shatter machine, or I forgot
Magic Killer.
Magic Killer.
Yeah,
Jesus
Magic Killer.
Christ. How many fucking finishes do I gotta memorize? But anyway,
SDR shatter machine, yeah.
But anyways, that would be the thing that could definitely help boost AJ. I don't know in a writing room wise how that would happen, seeing as the last time we saw AJ and the OC, AJ was pretty much saying fuck off essentially and just get away from him. I'm doing this on my own. So it's gonna take some creativity from Triple H and that back writing team over there to see how you can finagle this to work. But if you do make it work, it would be must watch.
It would. And we need that, especially after the quote unquote cinema that Roman Reigns has given us the last close to 4 years. I think you gotta really, really operate this carefully, because Cody Rhodes is the most over babyface in the company. There is no denying that. In a world where the WWE right now has more over baby faces than ever, now is the perfect time to give him some heels that will generate real heel heat. So the OC is definitely an option here. So look, I think the match is going to bang. There's no question about that. The match is going to be great because the two competitors in there are great, and Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles are two of the best in the world. So with that being said, it's going to be a fun Backlash. It's going to be a very, very fun pay-per-view, or PLE. I always get those two mixed up. I think
I still call it a pay-per-view to this day.
Yeah. It's going to be a very entertaining PLE, and I would imagine there's going to be a lot of shocking moments. I think the WWE needs to, follow up WrestleMania with somewhat of a story-driven ending to Backlash, so that they can really build up to Clash at the Castle, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and maybe towards the next WrestleMania. So it's going to be very interesting. With that being said, that's going to wrap up our episode here on the WWE Fight Pit. We hope you enjoyed the content. Now, if you like this, please like and subscribe and share. It really helps us with the algorithm. And with that being said, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.